Grateful for your time with us this morning, and newspapers are already in. A quick look at some of them. The front page of the Ghanaian Times starts day this morning and says 4 students die in gory accident. Photographs of the 4 here and the vehicle as well. That's the Ghanaian Times. And the UK investors express confidence in economy. Achimota Forest shouldn't be turned into Eco Park. Professor Frimpong Boateng there. And then varsity student wounded but survives a rape attempt. The Independent says President keeps his promise. And another story here, have not endorsed event to celebrate me. That's according to President Mahama. The Business Day, Ghana's food storage facility in danger. Workers sit idle but receive salaries. CEO vacates post. Has a photograph of the Minister of Agric, Dr. Usufri Yakoto here. And then the Gold Street Business says, is E&I deal fair to Ghana? That's a huge question. The Today newspaper says, President names MCEs. Daily Guide, NDC fight Mahama girl. West Blue Bill 60 libraries. 4 nation students killed in crash. Boss stops $39 million office over chop chop. The Herald says appointment scandal hits Flagstaff House. Fake letters and forged signatures causing confusion. 2 individuals made NADMO balls. Also on the front page of the Herald, Ghana 60 Music Festival flops miserably. 30 artists performed to 20 people. And then ex-Senate board chairman rubbishes property sale report. Orders Daily Guide to apologize. The Daily Statesman says, I'll be man of my words. Nana Akufo-Addo. Also on the Daily Statesman, Krowo MPP supports Boyfield for Lekma MCE. Professor Meyakomfi heads Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund Board, and then Nana Ajiman appointed NADMO boss. Daily Graphic this morning says 19 die in 3 gory accidents, including 4 trainee nurses. Political bigwigs behind illegal miners won't be spared. That's according to the Natural Resources Minister. And the minister vows to deal with motorists who fail to pay road tolls. That story, the libraries, Ghana 60 libraries also captured by the Daily Graphic. My guest this morning, to my extreme left, Member of Parliament for the Adaklu constituency of the Volta region, Kwame Agbeja. Kwame, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm grateful for your time.
Thank you very much.
And then to my left is the Member of Parliament for the Futu constituency, Honorable Afenyo Makin. Good morning too.
Morning.
And thanks so much for
a while.
Just took some short leave.
Yeah.
Hope you're good.
If you don't mind, let me have your leave to comment briefly on the editorial of Daily Guide.
Right. What is it talking about?
It appears that when fresh members of Parliament get sworn in, some of you, the media, try to subject them to baptism of fire. And sometimes, unfortunately, it appears that the target is for the vulnerable ones or somebody's educational background. But let me take this opportunity to say that taking a decision to get into politics would not necessarily require that you must have the highest of education up to PhD. The Constitution recognizes that, depending on your background, once you have those requirements, 18 years and above, you can
sound mind
21 years and above, you can sound mind, you can vote, you don't have a dual nationality and all that, you've not suffered any criminal past and all that, you qualify. Therefore, the media should be part of this process where people with diverse background will be encouraged to be part of this, our democracy. I admire the courage of my sister from Akwetia. She didn't get it easy. She fought a lawyer. And then
you're talking about Member of Parliament for the constituency.
Yes.
Honorable Amasi.
Yes.
Right.
The fact that people would want to subject her to some embarrassment that
because of that speech.
Exactly. It's just unfair. And people have lost their seats because of the way the media. I remember the State of the Nation address of 2013. Some people contributing the first time. And stage flight, it's not easy. You know, people could not recover. So I will plead with the media to deal with us with some level of fairness when it comes. It's not easy and you can't have the best in parliament. If you are well educated and you think you can stand the heat, leave there wherever you find yourself and be part of the process. Then you get elected. But when people spend their resources, their energy, and they are there, and you want to say, oh, you can't speak well and all that. Let me also take the opportunity to also urge Parliament to also give effect to the provisions of our constitution. If you go to South Africa, if you go to East Africa, they combine Swahili with English.
But yours,
really the standing orders. You remember in 2014 or so, I attempted. I spoke Fanti, and they wouldn't allow it. Okay. The provisions are there that you can. The facilities should be made available for us to speak in our local language. After 20 years, what are we waiting for?
Okay,
so that is also important.
Kwame, you share Honorable Fingermakin's view on this issue, that the media unnecessarily take on members of parliament who are new and therefore unable to properly articulate their views on the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning to yourselves, and then good morning to the cherished viewers of TV3, especially those from the Daklu constituency. I agree with my colleague on some of the points. That is, who qualifies to be a member of parliament. It's quite spelled out in the constitution. Fortunately, the constitution never dwelled too much on your professional background, your religion, or your qualification. But I disagree with him when he suggests that it is the media. I think it's the other way around. It is the politicians who do that. How much haven't we subjected somebody like Akwadonko to ridicule in this country when there's every evidence that she's a self-made woman? She's got farms, she's got people employed and everything. And because she can't speak English, or she hasn't got a mate that she showed that at the University of Ghana or KNUST, people think she's not qualified. Haven't you? Just last month, when ministers were being vetted, you heard people on the panel asking, how come all this while you only got first degree? I mean, in the case of how do you call it, the senior minister, the person is an engineer. I'm an architect. What do I need a second degree for? I go to school for 6 years, and then stay in a practice for 2 years before I get my license. So in effect, it will take you not less than 9 years to become an architect. If I finish, you tell me I should go and do a master's degree simply because of that. It is the mentality of the people, and I sympathize with my this. But we've been in this country when people ridicule ministers who have already gotten first degree, master's degree, but were doing maybe a professional course in law or something. They said, oh, they call them what? Schoolboys. They are not fit to lead. If a minister who has got a second degree and is trying to pursue a professional degree in law is not fit to be a minister, then why should somebody who hasn't been to school at all qualify to be a member of parliament? You see, we create a problem and then we try to dance around it again. I find it quite difficult to understand. I agree with him on one vein, but if it's going to be this thing, then this thing shouldn't only come up when certain parties it should apply to everybody. Who says drivers? We say drivers should be able to read and write before they get license. People say it's not necessary and other things. So let's apply this diligently. I don't think our colleague in parliament was ridiculed only by the media. The media probably picked up on comments they heard from other people. I am sure if I did the same thing, it would have been, if he did the same thing, it would have been an issue of ridicule.
If it slips.
Of course. Okay. I mean, even presidents slip and then we jump on it.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm grateful.
Well, I never expected Kwame to give a partisan twist.
Oh no, he's not giving a partisan.
This is my view.
He said that's my view. It is the politician.
No, I'm saying that
we should blame.
I'm saying that I never expected Kwame to give a partisan twist to a matter that would enhance our own work as parliamentarians. But if that is the view we'd want to express to a genuine concern, maybe he's forgotten.
Why is it a partisan twist? He says we should blame the politician.
No. When in 2013, some of our colleagues on the other side were ridiculed, I'm on record to have said, look, you don't need to have the best of education. You don't need to be a lawyer, engineer before you come to parliament.
Okay.
This is for general effect.
Of course.
That we should protect those who work hard to get to parliament.
Irrespective of their educational background. I agree.
Yes, but you know, if you disagree with me on a point like this, so be it. Let's proceed.
Oh, no,
okay. No,
I said the commentary by politicians is the one that... Yes.
That perhaps has been fueling these. That is what Kwame is saying. Okay, let's start with the daily graphic this morning. Minority criticized government for allocating 1.5 billion cedis to presidency. The story says that the minority in parliament last Thursday criticized the government for allocating 1.5 billion cedis in the 2017 budget to the presidency. It says it is too high and unprecedented. The member of parliament for Northton, Mr. Samulukuyetua Blakwa, who led the onslaught, said 1.5 billion was higher than the accumulated budgetary allocations to the presidency from 2012 to 2015, which amounted to 1.3 billion. That's part of the contribution to the budget debate, and but the majority has defended that issue. And a member for Otafo, for instance, said that there were several ministries under the Office of Government Machinery whose allocations were part of the 1.5 billion. So minority criticized government for allocating 1.5 billion cedis to presidency. Honorable Afinyamaki, let me begin with you. 1.5 billion, we're told that it is more than 3 years, 2012 to 2015, and so the minority simply says that because of that, it's too much.
Well, first of all, I believe that the minority is beginning to gain notoriety for spreading falsehood. They try not to deal with the facts accurately. They distort to create a certain impression for their own political convenience. These are the facts. In 2016 budget, at page 207.
Last year.
Yes. The Office of Government Machinery was allocated 780 million Ghana cedis. And at page 209, it was projected that in 2017, Office of Government Machinery was going to spend 616 million. Now, the issue that they are making a fuss about, yes, it is a fact that the total allocation for Office of Government Machinery under this government is 1.5 billion. However, if you look at the breakdown, which is clear at page 178 of the budget, it is telling you how much is being spent on this initiative of one district, one factory.
Right.
How much is being spent on business development? How much is being spent on Zongo and inner city development? Special projects. These are flagship initiatives of this new government. So if you look at it and you deduct all these capital expenditure allocated to the various entrepreneurship training and all that, it comes to a little over $1 billion. So you have 515 million as the exact amount for Office of Government Machinery expenditure for 2017, which is way lower than what was projected by the NDC in 2016.
So the argument is that if you take all the other sources where the money will go and look at what it's exactly for the president.
Exactly. It's even far lower than what they had projected for 2017 and what they had projected, because in 2016, they had 780 million election year. There was no social intervention project under the Office of Government Machinery. All those things went into their general administration. You see, if you talk about Office of Government Machinery, you have various offices under the Office of Government Machinery. In this instance, we have ministers who are going to operate under the presidency. You have certain initiatives that expenditures will go to the various districts. National Northern Development Authority, for instance, that is as we know, is SADA. It is being changed to NDA. And the expenditure for all those projects
are captured under
the Office of Government.
So that is why the figure is that huge.
Exactly so. And I rebutted Honorable Okujetua Blakwa. If you look at 178, but you see, we are politicians. I won't take that away from him.
Yes.
He just put out the figure, 1.5 billion, without dealing with the specifics. If, as it were, it was just 1.5 billion for general administration, then you have every cause to question and say, how? But in this case, you know that special projects where we're going to look at initiatives at the various districts, areas where government is going to engage with the private sector, and these monies are going to create jobs. You don't now come and say that it is for the presidency. What if a ministry had been created? Because my sister Hawa Kumsen, who is in charge of special projects, we are not setting up a whole ministry for her. She's going to be under Office of Government Machinery. Her budget will be captured as such. So all the special projects to be undertaken by her would be under Office of Government Machinery. But that is not for tea. That is not for cars. That is not for salaries of somebody. You get the point. Now, if you come to business development, there's a minister responsible. Everything under her ministry, under his ministry, is going to be for under Office of Government Machinery, because we're not setting up a whole new ministry. If you come to Zongo development, inner cities and all that, all those monies that are going to be used for security in our Zongos, that are going to be used for special projects in our Zongos, are all coming under Office of Government Machinery. Now, let's do the comparative analysis.
Quickly, right.
If you look at it in relative terms, Office of Government Machinery, general administration is going to be 515 million.
That's if you take out all the various ministers
the
actual amount for running
is 515 million.
515
and
million.
It is there at page 178 for the records.
Okay.
If you compare that to what the NDC in 2016 had, they had 780 million. This is at page 207. And this one, there was no initiative. There was nothing like special project. All these election year, going straight into general expenses, general administration at the presidency. And they themselves had even projected that come 2017, look at how much they were spending in 2016. Then in 2017, it was coming down to 616 million. That is if they are stayed in office. So if you look at it, it means that the NATO has even cut costs of running the presidency to 550 million, saving the government, the country, over 100 million compared to what they would have spent in 2017.
Okay.
And coming to 2016 alone, the Nanado administration has saved this country over 300 million. These are facts.
All right.
They are not coming from anybody's head. And the records are there. They should argue us on facts.
Kwame, so
rather than all these...
the NPP's argument is that the breakdown is captured in the same budget. And he cites page 178. 178. That the breakdown is captured there. And that if you look at the breakdown, the actual amount of money that will go into running the administration of the presidency, in quote, will be just about 515,
which is far less.
The others are going to the various ministries that have been created. How do you react to that?
It's a palpable. Let me use his own words. You see, he's comparing apples to oranges. You see, he pretended. He's a member of parliament. He pretended that the 780 million allocated last year went into no other initiative. He is aware that there are so many state agencies that have always been under the office of the president.
They have drawn funding from the presidency.
In fact, always. And guess what? Secondly, it is President Nana Akufo-Addo who said, even if he creates 1,000 extra ministries, you wouldn't see government expenditure going up, because he claims that these are people who are going to be working next door to me, so they don't need extra expenditure.
Okay, when the issue of too many ministries popped up.
3, we've always had ministers of state at the presidency, including last year, didn't we? So, where from all these knee-jerk reaction that, it's because we created new ministries who are working at the presidency. There has always been ministers of state at the presidency, including those of them last year. So, it doesn't wash. The truth is this. The president is running an austerity budget, pretending he's the person who is coming to save this country money. Because as for him, he doesn't like money. Everything he does is going to be prudent and other things. And when he's caught pants down by actually showing to Ghanaians
that he doesn't care about the things that they care about most. Why do I say this? Adaklu District Assembly is a less endowed assembly. The major source of funding of whatever we do in education, health, everything is through the common fund, because our IGF is nothing to write to. In fact, our entire IGF for a year cannot build one 6-unit classroom block. So if you cut monies that come from government directly to Adaklu Assembly, you are trying to institute deeper poverty in Adaklu. You cut common fund, that will be going to the assemblies. You cut money that will go to NHIs. And by the way, last year we paid over 1 billion Ghana cedi to NHI. We still have funding gap. I'm talking about things that matter to everybody from Accra to Adaklu.
The statutory funds.
The statutory funds.
Capped by
exactly.
Okay.
You cut Get Fund. In fact, without Get Fund, I don't know how I will be able to have schools in Adaklu. You cut Get Fund at this time so that you pull the money and put it on your table where you can have total control over it, because when it's Get Fund, you can't do much about it because it's needed to be applied by law when it goes to NHI. So he basically cut everything so that he will have a pool of money that he can use anyhow he wants. So away from all this thing about how do you call it? Because we had this Zongo Development Fund and so. Who says Zongo Development Fund cannot be under any ministry? In any case, it is your choice. President Nana Akufo-Addo always says that leadership is about choice. If he chooses to give more money, put more money at Flassa Vows under his own control than to send those money to Minister of Water and Resources, Works and Housing to sort drainage. If he decides to take money and put it in his office instead of sending that money to Adaklu, so that we already know. In fact, we have already done our medium-term development program. We know that we needed to fix broken schools. We need to fix potholes on our roads. And you tell us that you know better. So I'm taking the money, put it at Flassa Vows, or shift the money and go and pay, a free SHS. And you tell us that you care about us more than anybody. And when Ghanaians raise the issue, you say the government, the NDC is trying to be spreading untruths. Go and check the budget.
Let me put this question to Afe. So, for instance, Mr. Rashid Pepo was the Minister of State in charge of private public sector development or something. So it's not anything new from what he just told us.
It's just a change of the nomenclature.
Okay. Right. How easy it is to be in opposition and act with convenience. That's the way they find themselves. You see, let's stop the gallery debate and debate on the facts, the issues. I've raised several points in his submissions. He's spoken for over 10 minutes. He did not attempt to rebut the specific issues.
But your key issues, well, one of the key issues you raised is that these monies are going to ministers or ministers of state at the presidency. And he is suggesting that they have always been ministers of state.
No. The difference here is that the ministers of state that they had were not assigned specific responsibilities. Two,
what were they doing?
Can I?
No, Honorable Afinyemakin, what, for instance, was Mr. Rashid Pepo doing?
What did he do?
The public-private sector. Well, that's his mandate.
Well, you see, there's one thing giving somebody a title, that be here. Another thing giving the person a title and a responsibility. I am saying that Nana Addo has not just appointed individuals by titles. He is also assigned them with a job description. Business development, there is funding for that. And that is at the presidency. Special project, there is funding for it. One district, one factory, there's funding for it.
Are you suggesting that public-private partnership, there should be funding for it? Because there was certain documents that were developed. So certainly they needed money to do. You are not allowing me to answer your question. Okay, go ahead.
When you give somebody a responsibility where you want job creation to be at the core of it, you assign funds for that purpose, don't you? I am saying that if you go to these funds that they are talking about, there's an aspect for water and sanitation. It's there at page 178. They should read. They are failing to read the budget. They are going to the gallery. I am saying that all these things, it is not as if the president wants to spend anyhow. No. These are flagship initiatives contained in our budget. He wants to directly see to its implementation because the success of or otherwise would affect our future fortunes. So if these special projects are there and funds have been allocated for them, I do not think that anybody should get up and criticize because it is not going into the pocket of the person. Now let's deal with the issue of the statutory funds.
Quickly, and let's move on.
Waste had been part of the administration of the NDC. This budget is dealing with the priorities of the government. It's dealing with the priorities of Ghanaians. It's dealing with managing the resources. They are so much surprised that we have introduced free SHS, we have not increased taxes. They are so much surprised that we have ambitiously taken steps to implement our campaign promises, and they keep asking that how are you going to fund it? The funding is in what we already have, except that on this occasion we are doing away with waste. Look, Bright, I have been an assemblyman, I have been a presiding member, and I know that most of the common funds, the funds, do not really reach the assembly.
So that's why it was cut.
And we are saying
is that why it was cut?
Let us
focus.
Is that why we are focusing?
Is that why, because of the waste?
Right. Let me develop the point. We have a waste in the system.
In any case, it's the second shot on this. So
okay, you go ahead. Because
we have waste in the system. The best way to deal with it is that channel the little resources down there for the people to see the benefit. One of the things that they suffered in 8 years was their inability to ensure that projects were implemented successfully for the benefit of Ghanaians. We have seen that. We saw that in opposition. Whereas they were talking about project, infrastructure, the Ghanaian people complained that, look, we are not seeing the benefit. In opposition, we realize this. And I think that, look, what we are doing is that we want to now keep focus. If we say that we will reduce the expenditure in this direction and push it in another direction, all we want to say is that we want the Ghanaian people to benefit at the grassroots. That is why we have introduced a 1 million per constituency, where project will be properly monitored to ensure that nobody takes advantage. The people will directly benefit. That is the focus, and they should get it.
Let Kwame come.
Yes,
a quick one.
Just briefly.
Yes.
He asked. We say we don't know where they are funding it. We have already said it. You took money from Adaklu Assembly and then you turn around and give it back to us
because
as 1 million. Focus. No, you are pretending that the people at Adaklu don't know what they want, and you at Flagstaff House. And guess what? You see, let's get to the history of this. We've ever had Ministry of Transport under which there was railway, under which there was aviation. They've ever had Ministry of Aviation before. All they did was to bastardize Ghana Airways, sell its assets, set up Ghana, set up Ghana International, and was doling out 1 million Ghana cedi every month. It still collapsed. Today,
right, let's have a debate.
Listen. No.
Let's have a debate.
You allow
let's have a debate.
Let's have the debate.
Let's have a debate.
We had
Alex, you allow Kwame.
Listen, we had only one Minister of Transport. Out of that, you can see a brand new terminal being built at Kotoka. Kumasi Airport has seen massive development. Tamale Airport, even Ho is getting an airport only under one ministry. So how dare you tell me that just by splitting the Ministry of Transport, you do better, when in fact, history tells us when you split it, you actually collapse things. Look, we are building a railway from Tema to Akosombo to fix into our nodal transport system. We did it under the same ministry. Are you telling me that the people that President Akufo-Addo is putting together are not competent enough to have one person who can run these things? These are just jobs for the boys. This government will never save anybody. In fact, they are spending over 1.5 billion cedi on at the office of the president. There is absolutely no justification for it.
All right.
They can run, go and come back. But Ghanaians know. If the progressively free SHS that they are implementing, the only way they are paying for it is that Adaklu will not get school, as we have planned last year, because they are going to cut the money that will come in. The NHIS will get less money. So in effect, anybody can run that kind of administration. Taking people's money and giving it back to them is no competent way of running a government.
All right.
It's a lazy way of doing things.
We'll wait and see. Right. Alex, let's move on.
Right, let's have a good conclusion.
Let's move on.
A good conclusion.
Alex, since you said these are projects, we'll wait and see how we'll
so
get
on this
tangibles
occasion,
from these projects so that we consider the money spent.
Right, on this occasion, you as I know you, somebody can do a sweeping commentary and consider that as a debate. We are here to deal with issues. Which one? Alex, is Adaklu going to get $1 million?
all the time.
Right.
We don't have
right.
all the time. So
I know we don't. Right. I know we don't. I know we don't. But permit me. I'm taking your leave. You say that Adaklu.
Yes.
Hold on. Your own submission. Yeah. Adaklu is being denied what it had projected to have.
Yes.
But is Adaklu going to have $1 million every year?
No,
as a constituency.
Alex, should I answer the question?
Under a focus.
Alex, he is suggesting you are just taking it from them.
The 1 million.
You are just taking the same 1 million from them and giving it back to them. Alex, can you also explain? Because he's suggesting that you are taking that 1 million same from Adaklu constituency and giving it back to them. That is what he's saying.
Let me answer you. You want to do a tailor-made decision. You want to focus and get maximum effect. Look, if all along for over 20 years I give you 4 million every year, Ghana cedis every year, I don't see the effect. Meanwhile, I know that the money is come.
That is wrong.
Oh, can I finish?
I can show you.
I think these are just examples he's using.
Can I finish?
Alex, please, I am moving on, so please, it's okay.
So we debate. Our contention as a party in government now is that the way a manner public funds were disbursed previously did not achieve the needed effect. Can I finish?
So there's a new term.
If all things, hold on, if all things were well, if your supposed infrastructure was getting well, if the so-called upgrade at Kumasi Airport, whereupon you spent over 29 million Ghana cedi dollars, was sufficient enough, you wouldn't be out of power.
No,
do you agree?
I am moving on. No, I am moving on. Alex, I am grateful.
We are focusing.
You are doing.
Alex, I am grateful.
Gentlemen, we built railway without splitting it.
I am grateful. Can we move on?
We need focus.
I am grateful. But I'm asking you to send in your comments on this particular issue that we are discussing to 0508 235228. The WhatsApp number will be put on your screens now. 0508 235228. Let us also hear what you have on your mind on what we're discussing and others to follow. 0508 235228. Let's move on.
You should not encourage him to be getting away with sweeping statements. Let's debate issues. Have you responded to the Zongo City thing? Have you responded to the special project?
Let me tell you.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Let's debate.
Alex, I think he's been answered.
No, let's debate.
Now he's claimed, Alex.
President Akufo-Addo said leadership is about choice. You chose Zongo development and we chose something else. And I'm saying,
can I move on?
We expanded aviation without a separate ministry.
You are moving away.
All right.
How can you make 2 points at the same time? Stick to one development.
So the 1.5 is only about Zongo development.
The question is on one district one. Have you read the budget?
Have you read page 178?
Have you read 178?
Listen, you are contradicting yourself. You are saying private sector.
Have you read one?
Private sector will develop the 1 factory.
You've not read the budget.
You said
have you read the budget?
I did.
You've not read the budget.
You lied about it.
I'm not sure.
You lied about it.
Have you read the budget?
I did.
Which page did you read? Have you read page 178?
Gentlemen, listen, it's okay. Don't force me to mute your microphone. Let's move on. Let's move on. The Today newspaper talks about no increment in transport fares. We'll take a quick look at that before. Drivers were told that the Ghana Private Road Transport Union and then the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, Alex, please, I have moved on from there, says they have not officially increased transport fares despite reports of some increment by drivers. Drivers across Accra, I've seen some of them increase their fares. Some lorry stations in Accra on Friday showed between 10 and 15% increment in fares, which some passengers were not happy about. The GRTCC says that transport fares have not been increased, but drivers say they are buying fuel at a price they cannot continue to charge the same fare. Kwame, let's start from here. Drivers are complaining. Fuel prices have gone up, they say 4 times, and yet they are charging the same. They are, on their own, have increased fares, but we're told that the fares should remain same.
Well, the truth is that normally the Ministry of Transport in the previous government, what I know is that they have this working relationship with the private transport owners and other things. So whenever there's fuel price increases, another thing, they have a platform by which they do their own analysis and determine how much they should increase. I will not be surprised the current Minister of Transport is in the process
of having that negotiation,
engaging these
so that they come up with something that is in line with what stakeholder, that is the transport owner, passengers, and then the ministry would accept. The truth is that the price of crude has gone up a couple of times since we came to since the new government came into power. You see, the problem also is that when you use spin to acquire power, it could make you daze. It could make you feel dizzy. What are the things?
So there's pressure on the government to...
Yes, you see, they promised that I, Kwame Abuja, would not, in the period of their government, see my utility bill go up. They made my grandmother understand prices like petroleum prices will not go up. They made me feel I'll pay less tax and everything. Now we wake up, the price of crude keep going up. They pretended they have the ability to stop the price of petroleum products going up when they know. My two of us sat in parliament and created a PURC and gave them the authority to determine all these things. So government can say, yeah, we'll reduce the margin of tax and other things in it. But the truth is that it will come to a point in time when you can't anymore, because you would create a problem where the subsidy that you need to supply will take us back to a point where we were. That is why we introduced these petroleum sector levies and other things, just to create a balance in the system. So I'm not surprised, but all I'll urge the transport minister, not road minister, transport minister, is to quicken, if they are doing it, quicken the negotiation with GPRTU or all the stakeholders, so we know that this is what we should do, instead of private transport owners doing that. In case, I'm surprised that even the private transport owners are even doing that, because even spare parts are supposed to be cheaper now because we've taken taxes off it. But I am saying, if you use spin to come to power, you yourself will feel dazed at a point in time.
Let me find out.
The spin would take
if Alex is dazed, I don't think he is dazed. Alex, how this issue keeps coming up. Anytime fuel prices go up, we expect transport fares to also do same. Now, last Friday, trotro drivers in Accra and some parts of other places were attempting to do this. Now, how should the transport ministry handle this? Are people eager to increase the prices, their fares, because of perhaps promises by government to reduce fuel prices?
No, the government has not promised to reduce fuel prices.
Okay.
So don't create that impression.
The party never said on campaign platform that fuel prices were going to go down?
Right. Don't join him in that his campaign mood debate.
Okay.
Look,
I'm not
elections, all these
I'm not
things you said
joining him.
I mean, a campaign
mood. No. Yes, you are. I mean, it's as if you've not recovered from the loss. I mean, you won an election.
Hold on.
Okay,
you won an election.
You stay on course. Alex, stay on course. Alex, stay on course.
Smile.
Alex, stay on course and let's go. Is government under pressure?
No. Right, please. I beg you, with the greatest respect. When you put your questions like that, you want him to, why? Is that the point? That's that approach? The question here is, was there ever a promise to reduce fuel prices? No. There was no such promise.
There was no such promise?
No. Nobody ever made any such promise.
Taxes on fuel products were not to be removed or reduced?
Hasn't that been effected?
Okay.
Check it. We are now considering doing the budget. We'll do the estimate and approve, and then the effect will be felt.
Okay.
The taxes, those taxes that we promised we're going to remove on the petroleum product, it's been dealt with in the budget.
Okay.
This is a government that is keeping to its campaign promises. Nobody should now attempt.
But the fuel prices keep going up. That's a concern.
Did we have a policy of deregulation?
We have.
Good. Is that still on? Haven't we agreed as a nation that that is the way to manage the economy?
We have.
So that we don't unnecessarily be injecting with subsidies?
We have.
So let's proceed on that line. Nobody ever said that fuel prices were going to go down. We have an agreed formula.
Your party did not say that the prices of fuel are high because of taxes on it. You never said that.
Have we not addressed that?
So that if we take off the taxes, they will come down?
Right. Have we not addressed the tax issue?
So why are the prices
Have
still
we
up?
not addressed the
Why
tax?
are the prices still going up?
Are we supposed to go through a process in Parliament for that to be effected?
Okay, so I'm getting you that very soon these prices will come down.
Right. As we stated in our campaign, as we stated in the manifesto, we are going by it. Now, you see, if the NDC want to reinvent the whole process of campaigning, they may have to wait for 2020. If they want us to discuss issues and they want to be very constructive, they should act so in good faith.
Alex, we are discussing
because
issues
this hoodwinking approach, and they said this and they said that, even where you are utilizing resources for the benefit of Adaklu. Somebody would want to come and say that, oh, Adaklu is not going to benefit from schools. It was projected that we're going to have schools. Even the NDC is now publicly saying that they are against free
Alex, can you stick to this issue and move on?
I will, but let me lay a proper foundation.
Yes.
You see them even criticizing the free SHS policy, which is being implemented.
It's not free.
Please.
First years, deception. You said
Alex,
everybody.
They
voted for you.
Don't draw Kwame in. Let's deal with the fares. Now, the drivers are saying that the prices keep going up.
He's made a point.
They want to increase their fares.
He's made a point. There is always an engagement process.
Okay.
We have a sector minister. There is a platform that the parties, stakeholders utilize to ensure stability, so that people don't take undue advantage. I am a transporter, okay? So when prices go up, I feel it.
Yes.
And I believe that many more others in the transport sector and others who patronize our stations, fuel stations, for the purpose of purchasing fuel and all that, all feel it. Industry also get affected. So I'm sure that this platform that the stakeholders utilize to ensure that people don't take undue advantage, like he said, the ministry would do what it's supposed to do to ensure that the right things are done so that there would be a win-win situation. I mean, that's all about the point.
Okay. Alex, I'm grateful for your time this morning. Let me quickly touch on this story and then we'll move on.
Right, but surprisingly today, you has been hammering on issues. Kwame will debate, do galleries, make sweeping statements, and you let it go. Because
Alex,
how can he say that Adaklu will not benefit from any school project when you are going to have $1 million, which is over 4 million Ghana cedis, and you would entertain him?
No, I think he made his point known.
No, he didn't.
What he said was that you are taking from the same Adaklu and then giving back. So he thinks that
taking
is
away
the
from
same.
Adaklu and giving back.
He said you have reduced assembly common.
Do we know
fund.
about judicious use of resources?
So
Okay, let's move on.
Can I explain it to you?
Let's move on.
Let me explain it again.
Have you talked about your
let me take my last topic.
Let me explain that.
Have you been able to talk about
I am from
780
Adaklu. Let me explain
Have you been
Adaklu
able to explain
Yes.
the 780 million
All right.
cedis of the government?
Gentlemen, I am grateful. We'll take some of your comments. Keep sending them to 050-823-5228.
Come on.
You have to under too much pressure.
Have you been able to explain?
Okay.
780 million.
All right, gentlemen, relax. Let's take this final one before some of the comments. Johnny Hughes will join us with your comments. Now, BNFT talks about free SHS requires sustainable funding. The story is suggesting that the PricewaterhouseCoopers is commending government for rolling out the free SHS, but has charged government to ensure that there is a sustainable source of funding for the program in the medium to long term. That's all that the story is saying. I think they are suggesting that a free and all-inclusive educational system is a major driver for the government's change agenda, and indeed is a catalyst for growth and development. Therefore, a sustainable source of funding is indeed the key to running it. Kwame, let me start with you. Beginning, first years will take it, but PricewaterhouseCoopers is asking for a more sustainable source of funding for the project. Do you think, or how do we go about this?
Well, this is how we do it. When President Rawlings decided to bring significant transformation to education, not only in words in terms of policy on paper, what he did was to institute the Ghana Education Trust Fund. That fund became a pool of funds that we could draw upon to do many things, and indeed myself and my colleague here have benefited a lot in terms of at least education infrastructure in this country, scholarship for our brothers and sisters studying abroad and other things. I think the government will have to be bold to bring on a new set of reliable funding for NHIS to close the funding gap, which is the money we are able to allocate it to them in the budget and the actual cost of running the NHIS.
The ABFA is not enough?
It's not. It's not. And then the second one is about the SHS. It is true that, remember, the first time President Akufo-Addo came close to putting a figure to the cost of free SHS when he was being interviewed by BBC Hard Talk. He mentioned a figure which was ridiculous. Everybody, because he never even thought about it, he was caught, unaware, and then he put a figure out. It turns out that, no, that's not what the total cost. Now, we have a situation where you pretend last year, people who were at SHS at Adaklu, when you win power, even from January, they were not going to pay school fees, so they were not going to come to me and ask me for support. It turns out you lied to them. What you are now saying is that I never promised all of you. All I said is, and in Parliament, do you know what they said? When we say it, they said, whether it's first year or last year, it's all free SHS. Indeed, the president, John Dramani Mahama, has already rolled out free SHS. Today, we have people going to school at Adaklu under the SEIP, which is the Secondary Education Improvement Project, which are going to school free already. We know that we don't have all the money in this country to do all those things. They keep saying the money is here. Dr. Baumia keeps saying the money is here. If the money is here, why are you only saying that only first years will benefit? No, why not everybody? Indeed, after that, you remember senior minister coming out to say certain things about they are going to bastardize the Ghana Infrastructure Fund. When he was pushed this in, then somebody who is supposed to be want to be the deputy minister say that you don't mind him, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But the truth is that till today, they haven't told us where the source is going to be coming from. But we know where the source is. Simply, they are telling Adaklu, the medium-term development plan you made and passed, which is on GIFMIX on the Ministry of Finance website, we are not going to allow you to implement it. We are going to take your money because you don't know how to spend your money, and we bring it to Accra, then we repackage it and give it to you and tell you what to do with it. He's talking about 1 million this thing. Is he aware that the finance minister still didn't tell us where that money, who is going to be in charge of that money? We asked him, is he going to be MPs? He didn't answer it. Is he going to be the assembly? Now they are saying they are going to set up a certain development authority. And that is why people are saying that maybe they're going to create another Kwango full of, how do you call it, party faithfuls. But so the truth is that the story that is in the BNFT is a critical one. How are we funding a sustainable free SHS? NDC is not against it. Let's say progressively, everybody must get it.
Let me put this question to Alex. Alex, sustainability. It's a key word here. How do we ensure we have money to run this project?
The money is there.
Well, let me start off by saying that pessimists have always been looking forward to a day that they would have a free day criticizing NPP for its inability to implement the free SHS. Okay. So each step that the party takes, you find them finding a way to question. One, we were told that we could not implement at all. When we stated that in the budget, now they say, oh, why not everybody? Why are you starting with the first years? Then again they said, oh, after all, free SHS had started.
So you didn't promise all.
No, right, you've asked me he's asking the question, you answered all of them as well. So let him.
You didn't promise that it was going to be everybody.
No, did we say that we're going to implement
I'm asking
one
you.
Promise,
I'm asking
one
you.
denial. One promise, one denial.
I'm asking that you didn't promise that it was going to be free.
Did we promise a free SHS? Yes.
No, I'm asking.
We did.
Okay.
I'm saying that we
Yes.
did.
Okay.
And once we made a promise, as a government, we said that this is how we're going to roll out the implementation.
Okay.
And the implementation is to the effect that we are starting this year. We don't want to defer. We are not postponing. We are going by our word. And we said that, look, by way of implementation, we're starting with a new
entrance.
Progressive
Hold on.
freedom.
Okay, Alex, 1 minute. I'll come back. Please put you put your
Have
thought
they
together.
been able to?
Alex, I'm coming back. Let's Johnny take some of the comments that have come in. Johnny, some comments on the issues we have discussed.
Very interesting, heated conversation. But on WhatsApp is buzzing as well. So we'll check out the birthday messages later. But say good morning to you and your panel. Bright, if parliamentarians are supposed to make laws and pass bills that significantly will transform our country, then I think education is very key. If a parliamentarian cannot express him or herself on issues in the House of Parliament, then that is another level of incompetence. David from Boga. Opposition is a sickness, so it's too late for the NDC to start making noise. We know them for 8 years. Bright, tell Honorable Kwame to wait and see what will happen for 1 year. The NPP government has nothing better for Ghanaians. They are trying to use their intelligence to rob Ghana. Mr. Adaklu, it's too early to be doing propaganda. It won't wash. Oh, Bright, you should moderate your show fairly. But your NDC bias is too apparent. Interesting. The NDC man doesn't have facts. The assemblies always misuse monies for party members from BOM, Manso Watreso. And Bright, the MPP categorically stated that the ministries in the presidency, I'm sure at the presidency, were going to operate within the budgetary allocation to the president. I believe they are now being hit by the realities of government. Babangida, good morning, my brother. Alex should be patient and debate well. From his brother Selom Ahachi from Chiame. He should call me.
His number there.
Yes, and you, Honorable, you need to go and call, because when politicians come on the morning show, they should know we, the youth, are watching and learning. Hence, they should comport themselves and make their submissions one after the other. From Edmond. Maybe last two, Brenda. Good morning. Afenua is running away from the facts and just shouting to overshadow the reality. Anyway, that's the culture politicians were brought up with. And good morning, Bright. MPP should fix these things fast. We ain't feeling any positive change. By the way, when is Felix of NDC coming on the show? We miss him. Taylor from Kumasi. Interesting. Okay. Some of the faces that used to be very prominent on the show, right?
All right. Alex, wrap up on your.
So my point is that our critics have not been consistent on this our flagship initiative. When we take a step, they find another way. But I can assure you that this government knows how dear the free SHS is to every parent, and that sufficient arrangement will be made to sustain its implementation. By the way, aren't parents going to have enough savings? If you are monies that you are supposed to spend at the SHS level, you are made to save it, then at the tertiary level, you are able to spend it on your world's education. It helps you as a parent to also plan. So I think that instead of criticizing the government, the NDC should rather applaud the government. That look, at long last, you've been able to at least roll out. We were told that we didn't even know about the cost. We were told that we could not even ascertain how much it was going to cost us. Today, haven't we seen a figure in the budget as what is going to cost us?
First term.
Okay, Alex, what about the sustainable funding for it?
When he heckles, you would join with another question. He is happy. The question of sustainability, Bright, I've answered you.
Because I'm running.
How are we going to sustain it? I am saying that we would sufficiently make funds available from what we have in the economy.
Okay.
We are going to spend the resources of this country rather judiciously, so that people would see the benefit.
Like the 1.5 billion at the Flagstaff House.
You are not going to sit somewhere and be spending monies anyhow. You are not going to say that Kumasi Airport, just fixing a aeronautical light, just doing some asphalt, expanding the runway, $29 million.
Okay.
If you go to the airport, the expansion, whereas American companies were putting in a bid of 200 million, you accept a Turkish company's bid of 400 million, and you think that you are happy when you could have saved the government over $200 million. When you go to CDB to borrow funds and then pre-disbursement penalties alone, can I finish? You are spending over 200 million free money to the Chinese government, and it is costing the economy, and you are in opposition. Know that it is because of your position.
Please,
I beg you. So we are going to sustain by ensuring judicious
okay, all right.
use of
So
our
Alex
resources.
is saying that
the way you can
wasting.
sustain
Of
it.
The
course,
budget is
they-
1 year,
we-
but
please.
your allocation is just one.
Oh, come on.
term.
All
We
right.
would project and make sure
I am grateful.
that we sustain
Okay,
it.
they will
Don't
come to
worry.
Parliament for a budget review in
Review,
6
of
months'
course,
time.
in 6 months.
Of course, that has
Okay.
always been the case.
I'm
We
grateful.
will. The
All right.
constitution allows.
So does that mean
It's
you were not
constitutional.
competent enough to do a budget
Oh,
that
come
can run to
on,
an
come on. It's constitution. Come on, Pami. What has that got to do?
All right.
The constitution says you can.
The competent people have put
come
1.5 billion at the Flagstaff
stop the
House
gallery.
and have taken money from
Stop the
Adaku.
gallery.
We are not happy about that. Adaku
Okay.
is not happy. You have
Okay.
taken our money from us.
And then we are giving it back to you.
So
So that
what
you
kind
spend
of
it
life
wisely.
is that? You
All
take
right.
our money and give it back.
I'm grateful, gentlemen, for your time this morning. Kwame Agboja is Member of Parliament for the Adaklu constituency, and Alex Afenyo Makin is Member of Parliament for the Ofutu constituency. Gentlemen, I'm grateful for your time this morning, and thanks so much for joining us.